everybody, look down below, see the subscribe button. Go ahead and click it for me. Thank you so much. And I truly appreciate your support. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shannon Confidential. I am Shannon, your host. And Shannon Confidential is a podcast about life, love, and everything in between. And today's in between is a double dose of Nathan Atkins. First, he's opening up Drip Bar, which you can see behind me. And I love those places. And I can't wait for him to explain everything about it. He's also a mayoral candidate for North Las Vegas. So that's a pretty big deal, opening up a business and running for office. Not to mention, he's an Army combat veteran for the 101st Airborne right here in my backyard, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So Nathan's kind of a big deal. I had a great time getting to know him on our intro call, and I'm really, really excited to bring him all to you. So up next is Nathan Atkins. Okay, everybody, here he is, Nathan Atkins, the man of the hour, the mayoral candidate, the Army combat veteran, the Drip Bar owner. He's a little bit of everything right now. So Nathan, welcome to Shannon Confidential.
Good morning. Thank you.
So excited to have you on. You have one tremendous story. Just introduce everybody to who you are, what you're doing, and we'll just go from there.
Sure. So, I appreciate you having me on this morning. Real quick background. As you stated, I'm Army combat vet. I served with the 101st Airborne unit. That's my combat unit.
Thank you for your
after
service.
The Army, pardon? Oh, thank you. And after the Army, I came out and kind of kicked around. One of my best friends right now, he lives in Thailand. He's from Rome. We've been friends forever. I waited tables, bartended, and then eventually landed a job. And that job didn't go anywhere. And they said, well, you can't get this other job because you don't have a degree. So I went back to school and got a degree and got an MBA, and then found my way into the corporate world. Worked in the technology space for a long time in sales management, senior executive leadership. Now, as the world changed in '08, I got severanced out, found a new industry. That's where I met my current wife. And she was from Miami, and we met at a training. She eventually moved from Miami out here to Vegas with me because I was in the process of opening an Orange Theory Fitness, which I sold that license. I opened the first one here, and now we've embarked upon a new endeavor, which is the Drip Bar. We're opening the first, something about being the first. We're opening the first one here, and this time around we're much more capitalized. We've got 3 licenses, and it's close. We're literally opening within a couple weeks and having our grand party on the 11th of June. So, and obviously I decided that I was tired of what was going on politically in my town in North Las Vegas, which is separate from Las Vegas, and threw my hat in the ring and decided to be one of the 7 candidates who are running for mayor.
Wow. Okay, hold on. And you're keeping up with all of that. That's incredible. Well, congratulations to everything. That is, to take on that's an incredible challenge all the way around.
Yes.
So what's harder, opening a business or running for mayor?
They're both equally challenging. Friday, Saturday of the past week, we worked the Southwest Women's Expo. So we were able to build some leads and some interest in the business. Sunday on Mother's Day, I got up in the morning. I made my lovely wife breakfast and had that ready. And then I got out on the streets and started putting up my campaign signs all around town. And then in the afternoon, I went over to visit with my mom. So they're equally challenging.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you. Which one do you want to cover first? Drip Bar or candidacy?
You know what? Let's cover candidacy first. That'll be the easiest one to cover.
Jeez, and to me, that's terrifying. So you're new to the world of being a government official to a certain degree, as far as, what is it like to come in? I would imagine to some extent, it's kind of good that you're not a lifetime politician, because some people tend to vote the other way now that things have gotten so crazy. But coming in so green, was there any true eye-opening moment, or what has it been like for you?
So it is very eye-opening. Going to the forums and the debates or the town halls or any of those type of things. Listen, I've two-time president of my Rotary Club. So once a week, I'm standing in front of a Facebook Live talking to a room full of people. As a corporate exec, I've talked to plenty of people. I've sat on many boards. I've actually emceed a bunch of forums. So speaking in front of groups of people, answering questions, being accountable, being put on the hot seat, those are all the easy parts of it. The harder parts of it is challenges like, I just recently ran into an issue where the endorsements came out from my party, and my party says, well, that's not the party, that's the club. And I'm like, you guys realize it all bears the same party name, whether you're the party, the club, the this, or that. And I'm like, they're endorsing me, and then they're endorsing one of my opponents who happens not to be a part of the party. And I'm like, well, what am I paying membership for? And so there's a lot of political wrangling for these insiders that's, well, our strategy was to hedge our bets. And I was like, yeah, maybe you guys should just get behind me and support me more. But you know what? I didn't run because they said they were supporting me. I didn't run because they came to me, the party itself, and said, listen, we want you as a candidate. I decided I was tired of all of them. I'm tired of these career politicians. And so I just picked the mantle up on my own. I put it on my back and I took off running with it. And where I picked up support, I've appreciated it. And where I don't pick up support, my actual statement to one of the founders of that club was, you guys are just one more opponent I'll have to overcome, right? You haven't been super supportive other than lip service, right? None of you show up. You tell me you're going to help and you never show up. That's what's eye-opening. Is it's really politics. I've said it for years because I've always believed it. It doesn't matter which side of this two-party system, whether you're flipping heads or tails, they're both in the same game. They're both playing along. And they spew a bunch of rhetoric to try to stir up different people to get the votes. But at the end of the day, they're really not focused on anything other than gearing up support to get money for themselves and, continuing to play the game so they can continue to have access to power. Listen, the mayor's a part-time job.
I love the honesty.
Yeah, no, that's exactly why I'm here. And at the town halls, I'm very honest with people. I tell them all the time, listen, you have to inspect what you expect. I tell them at the town halls, when you select me, you better watch me. You have to watch. You cannot pick one of us and then go home and think it's all over and it's all being done. Because if you don't pay attention to the people you put in place, right, they're all going to falter. Even if I'm trying to do my best and make what I think is the best decision, if you're not checking up on me and saying, hey, you know what, we really didn't want that, we would want this. Some decisions are irreversible, right? So maybe you need to get in front of it. But next time I might make a different decision. But if you just leave me unchecked and unfettered, who knows what's going to happen?
I love that. You know how many people just cast a vote and then go, what the hell, when something happens, and you just want to tell people, no, you have to stay involved. You have to pay attention. You have to read everything. Just don't pay attention to the one thing that some media outlet is telling you. There's three sides to every story. Do your homework. If you don't do your homework, it's your own fault. It's your own fault. Stop complaining. So I love the fact that you're actually coming out and saying, I want you to do your homework. I want you to pay attention to what I do. Keep me in check. And you use the word accountability. No one in politics says the word accountability. I love this.
Here's the thing. I'm going to do some stuff you don't like. I can guarantee you that.
You're never going to keep everybody happy.
Absolutely. I'm going to guarantee you that. And also, I'm people over party. Yes, I'm in a specific party. And I understand that, people want to box me in and label me. And a lot of people have actually said, well, you don't sound anything like your party. Right. So just so it's clear, and I don't know if you want me to say it or not, but
it's your show. Go for it.
I'm a registered Republican, and I say it that way simply because the rhetoric that comes with it is not my concern. I'm a fiscal conservative. I'm coming to do the job to take the tax dollars and manage and run the city appropriately. I believe cities should be run and managed like a business. There are some politics that have to happen. I understand that. In my corporate life, I've run organizations. I've actually been a salesperson who sold to municipal, state, local governments, K through 12 education, higher ed. So I know processes and policies and how they buy and some of the ways in which they make decisions, because you have to learn, like here in Nevada regulatory statutes, dictate, when they have to go to bid and how this has to work. And you have to learn all this stuff. So I got a good understanding and grasp of how the business of it all works. As the mayor, though, you don't run the city, right? You're one vote. There's a 5-person council. The mayor makes up one of the 5 people. There are 4 other council people. A city our size of 270,000, it probably should be expanded to 7. We should get more districts in, but we've just grown to 270, so that's fine. The chief of police, the city attorney, and the city manager, those are the 3 positions that the council has direct control over and that they appoint. They hire those people. Then those people run the city. So there's separations between the mayor and the actual running of the city. People don't even understand that.
I like the way you explain that.
You're like the board of directors, and the city manager's like the CEO. Right?
Okay.
Literally, and so they run the position. So one of the things I said is, listen, I'll go downstream, I'll sit in the meetings, and people say, oh, you got to be careful because the charter of a city says a mayor cannot directly impact anything. They're superseding the city manager. And I said, no, fully understood, fly on the wall. I just want to know what's going on, right? Because in my opinion, the mayor has gravitas. So if I want to bring businesses to town, I need to sit with my economic development group and I need to listen to what the director of that group is doing. What's the direction? Who's trained? Who's certified in this specific industry? Because there's certifications. I have a very good friend, 35 years, he's been in that business. He said, listen, your town, whatever he had to say, wasn't so pleasant, but he was like, you don't have very certified people. We have an Economic Global Alliance, same thing. They said, we have challenges with it. Some of it's the brand, which is one of the things I talk about a lot, changing the brand so that people are attracted to the brand. Most of us remember Las Vegas itself, which really it wasn't Las Vegas. I won't go too much into this because it's complicated out here how it really works. What people think is Las Vegas really isn't the city of Las Vegas. It's a county run type situation. But they created a brand that said what happens here stays here. And this city tourism took off. They were able to measure exponentially the increase of traffic that started coming to this city. Now, it had a negative blowback at some point, decade and a half later, and they changed it now to what happens here only happens here, which we all know isn't true because social media
That's never going to be true. Never anywhere.
No, and it's on you. Remember, well, you might still be too young for this, but when I was a kid, I'm 53. So when I was a kid, they always used to threaten you in grade school. This is going on your permanent record. And it's like, oh, not the permanent record. Like, oh my God, I'll never get rid of this. Well, the truth is,
so true.
With social media and the internet, it is on your permanent record. I just had a buddy of mine who recently pulled up something on a candidate who's running for Senate, and he's supporting another candidate, and they're both conservatives, right? And that gentleman was on an interview in Texas saying how he loved Texas, and Texas was his state, and he would never live anywhere but Texas, and he's a fixture in Dallas, and blah, 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 blah. And now he's running for Senate, and guess where he's running for Senate? And then underneath it puts Nevada, right? So they're roasting him right now because he talked about how Texas is the only place he would ever live. It's the greatest state. He would only be here. He's dedicated to Texas. So it stays with you once you put it out in the ether. It never goes away. No,
that's why it's just easy. Just be honest. Just be honest. At the very least, when something comes back, you'd be like, well, all I can tell you is I told you the truth, Right. That's got Absolutely. A lot more weight than a bunch of smoke blowing up your butt.
So the thing about it is, and I said it to my wife, I'm like, yeah, I know you don't like some of the stuff I had to say, but the thing is I can't remember the lies anymore. So that's why I stick to the truth, because
so much easier.
It's easier to remember. It may not be the prettiest. We may not like it. It might not be the most digestible, but it's the truth. And I don't have to try to remember what the truth is. The truth is the truth. The truth. And yeah. And the truth is fact. And you can't, even if it's not likable for everybody, at least it's the truth. I'd rather know exactly where I stand with someone than wonder, is that the real Nathan? Or I don't know, Nathan said this before, but then that didn't happen. Truth and fact, whether you like it or not, at least it's solid. And you have to respect it. Yeah, well, and just like what you said a minute ago, right? Listen to what you were saying, right? There's energy right? Wasted energy and trying to figure out, well, is he telling the truth? Is he not telling the truth? Well, he said this before, and I don't know if I can. Well, I better let me check this and let me do. I always say it like this. People ask me questions that have zero to do with being a man, right? What's your stance on the Second Amendment? Well, I'm not sure what the question is. Well, do you support it? And it's like, who cares if I support it? It's a constitutional right. It's your right to bear arms. Whether I support it or don't support it, it's a constitutional right. And as a mayor, I have no impact on changing that constitutional right. Now, if I was running for Senate, Congress, or some of the things that could change it, I understand why you want to know where I'm at on that. But what difference would it make whether I support it, don't support it, love it, hate it? I can't impact it. It is your right. Personally, I don't care. Own as many as you like, right? I think that, people want to say, well, the Constitution doesn't say you need to be licensed. Listen, the forefathers didn't think about cars. They didn't think about planes. They didn't think about a lot of stuff, right? So let's just be clear. Yeah, we should make sure that people who, if we were married and we had a physical altercation, right? I shouldn't be able to go buy a weapon moments after that. Because clearly that doesn't sound sane. Someone should be like, no, there needs to be 3 days. Or you buy a house, you get a 3-day rescission period.
It's
amazing.
You
got 3 days to cool down, to go, oops, I didn't want to do this. So I think a weapon is a little more concerning, and we should at least make sure that you're buying it with a cool, clear head. But as long as you're a citizen who seems to be 99% okay, buy as many as you like. Who cares? It's like, cigarettes or chewing gum or cars. Or if you can afford it and you want to buy it, right? Buy as many as you like, right? Because, excuse me for 1 second, gentlemen. So buy as many as you like. Do as much as you like. Do whatever you want to do, as long as it's legal, as long as it's not harming anybody. You're absolutely fine.
I love this. I love this. Everybody just, to each his own, just live a decent life, be honest, stay legal, and what do you have to worry about?
Right. And so when I get back to as being a registered Republican, it's not my business who you love. It's not my business if you're following the Bible, if you're doing all those. That is not my business. You are electing me to take your tax dollars and run your city appropriately. And that is to make sure that I'm attracting business, that I'm diversifying the city so that we live in a city that's an attractive city to live in. We live in a city where people want to come live in the city. They want to come play in the city. They want to come work in the city. People want to come, visit the city. It's a city that's diversified enough so that as we go through economic cycles, and I don't mean 08s and 9/11s, those are big economic impacts. I mean, just regular economic impacts. The chart goes up and down.
It
doesn't go up and down in big swings. It just goes up and down. Sometimes we're a little better. Sometimes we're a little worse. And when we're a little worse, do we have enough diversity in the type of businesses we've brought to town, the type of housing that we have in town, the type of things that we're invested in to make sure our city functions properly? Is my city manager making sure your roads are fixed, your lights are done, your garbage is picked up, the things you expect to get in return for paying your property taxes, for paying your city taxes? Do we have the right mix of businesses that can weather these economic storms and providing you walkable cities and enjoyable cities and making sure that the revenue's coming in so your taxes don't go exponentially higher? That's the job. It's not for me to peek in your bedroom curtains and go, oh, that's not the right person for you to love. That's not my business.
I think you're amazing. I think the people in North Las Vegas are so fortunate to have you as a candidate. Am I allowed to vote for Tennessee?
Unfortunately not. But, it's, you can if you want to come out. Listen, they talk about affordable housing a lot. And I remind folks all the time, in the valley, which is what we call this because mountains surround us, we're like a bowl. So in the valley, North Las Vegas has the most affordable housing, right? It has very beautiful communities and neighborhoods, but it has the most affordable housing. So when you say, we need more affordable housing, what you're saying is we need low-income housing because we have people who make below the average income, and where will they go live? Right. So again, a lot of times we don't even understand the terminology that we use. So we have affordable housing. We are very affordable. when you look at even at this exponential growth, right? We're a good $35,000-$40,000 less expensive per home, right, than other places within the valley. Now, there's reasons for it. There's more shopping and dining and some of the auxiliary things that people like to have in their community and other parts of the valley, which we drive out of. That's one of the things I want to fix, is we seem to leave the city for pretty much everything beyond basic needs, grocery stores. Here in Vegas, dentists and nail salons are really big here in Vegas. I don't know why, but every strip center has a dentist and it has a nail salon. So they need pretty hands and feet and they need good teeth. So
that's funny. Here in Tennessee, everywhere you go, there's a Dollar General. Okay.
There you have it. So every place has something, right?
Well, I have to tell you, I think I love your energy. I love your positive message. I love your truth. You're kind of wearing it on your sleeve. What you see is what you get. I can tell you right now, you might not like it all the time, but I'm here for you. And that's just very, very refreshing. That I wish that message was across the board throughout states all over the US, because that type of honesty, accountability, the understanding, the patience, everything for your community, and understanding that you have a job to do. It's not just a power trip or a bunch of people riding your coattails. Like you're looking forward to getting in and just getting some work done.
Right. And I think the good part about it is, more than anything, is that, we're talking about a grassroots candidate. So I don't have a campaign man. People are like, oh, tell your campaign manager. I'm like, you're talking to him. Well, you're talking to him. You're talking to him.
I love it.
So because I don't have all this staff and all these people who manage my message and do all these things, and you're talking to the central point of everything, which I'm not saying that's the best way, but it's just the way that I have right now. You're talking to them, and there's a lot of people who like me. Some people have been very clear. Oh my God, if you weren't with that party, I would vote for you in a heartbeat. And I'm like, well, you should pick the people. You shouldn't pick the parties. And I get you. Every party has its flaws, and people in those parties say and do things that kind of make you go, huh? What? Why? But that's not everyone. And again, if you like what you hear me saying, you should never go, but your party. No, you should go, I like what I hear you saying. That's what I want my leader to say. That's what I want my leader to do. And that's how it works. And the other thing I'm clear about is, listen, there's a ton of money in this space, a ton of money, right? That's another thing I learned. It's not even so much as people think that, oh, they're giving the politician all the money. No, there are people who's making your signs, who's putting out your flyers, who's knocking doors for you, there's phone banks, everybody's looking to capitalize off your run for office. This is the time when sign makers and phone banks and text message companies that send out your message via text or via email, all these industries, they're all ramping up to make money. It doesn't directly always go to the candidate, but yes, there's a lot of money in politics, and you're not going to change that. No. You're just not going to change it. And you're not going to beat money. What I've said to people is, listen, people should serve a certain amount of time, and then that's it. For that reason alone, we should vote for the next person. We should figure out a new person, because once someone gets entrenched, I have an opponent who is, a longstanding politician and started the year in January with $300,000 already in her war chest. Oh, how did that even happen? Well, it's because they've been entrenched for a long time. So money shows up. And I say this all the time. They're all watching, my own party included. They're all watching. They're all watching. And if I don't drown out in the middle of the ocean and I swim to shore, when I make it to shore, they're all going to show up. Congratulations, we're behind you. How can we help you? And they'll all start writing me checks, right? Okay. So you won't stop money. Money will do what it does. And let's be fair. I win. I serve my first term. By my second term, I won't have to do all this craziness. I have a full team. First, I'll have access because I'm already the mayor. So the doors are already open. I don't have to go knock on those doors. They're calling me up. Yeah. So it's a whole different thing. But I'll have money, and I'll have the team, and there'll be people crafting my message, and they'll be watching numbers, and they'll be creating polls. We don't really have polls at this level, but you begin to get them as you get up the levels and all this other stuff. So you can't beat money. The only thing we really can do as the public is vote and be willing to turn the apple cart completely over all the time so that you make money, have to go work. A new wild card like me is coming into play. Money now has to show up, figure me out, right, to get me bought. And if we're smart as voters, by the time money has figured out how to get me bought, we're already voting for somebody else. So we're making them do it again. And there's so much money out there that they got plenty of money to do it. So you're not going to beat them, but you at least want a fighting chance. And that's your only fighting chance, is to constantly change up who they can have control over. Other than that,
yeah, because right now you don't answer to anybody. You don't owe anybody anything. And after you win and you've got one term, proof's in the pudding. I mean, either you did what you said you were going to do or you didn't. You're going to be your own best mayoral candidate, or you're going to, people mess up and they become their own worst enemy. That's on the person in office. You keep doing the good job, and that's where you excel, because people learn to trust you, which is not a word you say often in politics.
No, it's not. And again, you're absolutely right. So when I make it across the line, right? And I'm not one of these people who, when we shift gears to business, I'm not one of these people who are like, I built it all myself. I did it all. I brought me from nowhere to here. Yeah. When people tell me these type of things, I go, you just didn't pay attention. There was always someone somewhere who helped you, whether it was a teacher who inspired you, whether it was a mentor or coach that got you forward. Yes, you have to do the work. No one's showing up to build your business for you. No one's showing up to build your life for you. Whatever it is you want to accomplish, whether it's getting a degree, or whether it's winning an event, or whether it's playing a sport, or building a business, or getting a career. Yes, you have to be the primary of the functionality. It's what you want. It's not what they want, but there are people behind the scenes who are helping you. And the difference between, I am who I am. For me, the difference between quality people, right, and people who lack this quality is quality people always know how to recognize people, and they always know how to understand that they got nowhere by themselves. No person is an island. There were so many people who helped them. For me, my whole life, my mother is. I was just talking to a friend earlier, and I says, I've never asked friends for money. I've never borrowed money from a friend. One time when I was in Thailand, and she's my wife now, but I've never borrowed money from a friend ever, because I've always been fortunate enough to go to my mother. And then I also have two brothers. One of my brothers, but usually it's my mother. I've always had that luxury. Not everybody has that luxury. Mm-hmm. Sometimes your family, sometimes your friends are better than your family. But there's somebody. You can't be all by yourself all the time. So when this chest thumping happens about, I did it with, all by myself, and a lot of times it's an insult to the people who helped you. It's an insult to the team who helps you build it, right? And when we shift the business, I'll talk a lot about the team I'm building and why it's important. It's everything for me. And what happens as we take this business and we open these doors and we build this business, the team that helps me build this business will be the team that is best rewarded and will continue to be rewarded. And yes, I will make the lion's share. I understand I'm the owner. Owners love to talk about, well, I put up the money and I didn't get paid and all this other stuff. But if your people didn't help build your business, all your money would have went down the tubes, because you couldn't do it by yourself, right? Unless you're like a CPA or, an attorney or a single practice person, then you possibly can, right? But your people are the ones who helped you build that. And then to try to forget them and go, well, I pay them this basic minimum salary and that was the exchange. It's like, kind of, yeah. Right. But that's not why they invited their friends. That's not why they told everybody. That's not why they constantly come with the lights on. Their eyes are shining when they show up to your place, and they treat your customers with respect, and they treat everybody with respect. That's not why they do that. They do that to feel a part of something. Yes. And it isn't always about money, right? It's making sure they feel appreciated. And that is the important part. So in this political situation, these people are going to show up and they're going to write me a check when I cross the finish line. I don't owe them anything. So they're going to have to write more checks because I can say, hey, take it and stuff it. But you're absolutely right. By the time I serve my first term, by the second term, well, human beings, I've taken checks. And there will be people who have expectations. And the only expectations they should ever have of a politician is they want access to information. They want you to take their phone call, right? You're developing a new studio and you want to know where you're looking to buy a piece of property makes sense. And so hey, listen, I'm one of your bigger campaign donors, so I want to call you directly. I don't want to call zoning and planning. They're just going to tell me the basic thing. I'm going to call you and go, hey, is there anything going on? Well, nothing confidential, I can tell you. That's against the law, right? But anything that's not confidential, I could share with you.
Okay.
That type of stuff. So that's the access they look for. And that's what they're doing. And that's why I say, if you turn the apple cart every so often over, they got to go get a new relationship with somebody new. They don't have access. Even I will become a problem by my second term, third term. You can't do a fourth term. We only do 3. Thank God we only do 3 here. We have term limits. 3 terms and you're out. 12 years and you're out of this position for city council, although it's kind of questionable because we've got a city council person who's done their 3 terms and now they're running for mayor. And, there's been some real discussions around.
Okay.
12 years is 12 years, and city council is city council because it's one person, one vote. Just because the title is mayor and the title is city council and the titles are bigger, it's still one person, one vote. The mayor's not a dictator. The mayor can't supersede, veto, override, and get it done. If the mayor can't get the council to row in the same direction as they want the city to move in and get their votes, it won't happen.
No.
It has to be a collaborative effort for it to happen. So there's some conversation around, can this person serve term as a mayor? Because, well, their time's coming up. They've got about 1.5 years left before they hit 12 years. How do they get a new clock on the same situation? But that's for other people to decide. I don't have time to do that. I'm too busy trying to win my race and make it so that we don't have to worry about that.
I love this.
We can send that person on to do whatever it is they do. And I'm also a little dismayed with, you do your 3 terms over here and then you want to come over to this new situation, like, state senate, and then you want to come over here and now you want to be a mayor and do 3 terms. And, then you want to go to be the governor for 3 terms. And we just don't need these people who make a career out of politics because they're
not doing something with it.
Yeah. But they get out of touch, though. Even if they are decent, they get so removed from the common understanding of people. I remind people every day, listen, I have a job still, I'm opening a business, and I'm running for office. So I sit across the table with my wife and talk about what our budget is to run our household, what our budget is to be able to try to grow and build, our financial stability with the business. What our time limit is like when I've got to run for campaign. This morning I was like, okay, let me get this straight. 6:30 in the morning, I'm like, let me get this straight. Thursday night, you said we're going to see the Psychedelic Furs. The 13th, I've got an interview with Starbase about how did I, make mistakes as an executive and what were my recoveries. The 14th, we've got the parade. I've already got the car that we can rent and ordered the signs. What's happening Sunday?
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what's going on in your brain right now. I know I'm not, well, here, I'm running my business, but I'm certainly not running for office. And I couldn't imagine because I'm like a scheduled bubble. Oh my gosh, you guys have to be so crazy. But I have to ask, you've mentioned your lovely wife several times now. What was her first reaction when you said you were going to run for mayor of North Las Vegas?
So I didn't say I was going to run. So there was a consulting group that came to me and said, hey, you're a pretty polished guy. We run campaigns. Would you be interested in running for office? And I said, well, it's funny you mentioned that because I had thought about it when I first moved to Vegas and was opening the first business. It's one of the things I've thought about, but I just didn't know where to get started. So I kind of just put it on the back burner. I said, but you guys are telling me this is what you do. So yeah. And the initial conversation was, how about 2024? There's a city council seat that'll come open. And I'm like, oh, 2024 would be good because I'm opening a business and, you know, I'm working and I'm busy. And then we had dinner and they said, well, we know we said 2024, but guess what?
How about tomorrow?
Right. You're qualified, my friend. We know your background. We've looked at your resume. You've run, you know, billion-dollar organization across 42 states, major corporation, you know, budget's bigger than the size of the city. Maybe not staffing, but a budget bigger than the size of the city. He was like, would you be open to running for mayor? And I said, well, certainly I would, because I know I'm qualified to do the actual job, right?
Yeah.
And so then it all went into gear. And I said, but let me be clear on this, guys. I have to go home and I have to ask my wife because I work and we're in the middle of the whole thing with the business, getting everything moving. And we had just gotten going on you know, getting the funding and securing the licenses. And we hadn't gotten into construction yet. We hadn't even, you know, secured a place. So there was going to be so much to do.
Yeah.
And I said, the answer is hers. If she says no, it's no. I've already put too much on the plate, right? And if she says no, that's too much. I can't, we can't. The answer is going to be no. I'm not going to make her justify her no. No, it is across the board. So she said to me, well, you always wanted to do this, right? And sometimes you don't get a chance to pick when you get to do something. She was like, so you know, I want to support it because you always wanted to do this. My biggest concern is, what's it going to do to you? Do you have the bandwidth, the time? I don't want to see you physically, mentally burn out. And I said,
she's a good woman. That's smart.
she is. I said, well, you know, you haven't seen me at my absolute worst yet. And she said, that's what I'm concerned about. She was like, but you know what? Here's the thing. You never get the perfect timing for anything. There's never the right time. So if you think you can handle it, let's do it. And so once she said that, I told him, yeah, let's do it. And in the process of all of this, she's now since been promoted in her job. Now she runs, you know, 4 state regions. So, you know, the help that I was supposed to get for the business, she can't, right? Because she's now taken over control and running the household as well. But she's also busy in her career, right? Busier than she was going to be because she was doing very well as an individual salesperson. But now she's back to running an organization, which is how it was when we met. She's been a leader, you know, many times as well. And that, you know, kind of put more stuff here on this plate that was already full. And, you know, she had to travel for work. She couldn't, you know, make some of my events. So, you know, the recordings and all the other stuff. And she just kind of shakes her head sometimes and goes, I just, you know, you don't seem to need that much sleep. And I'm like, oh, I do. She was like, yeah, I know. Because I see you go, crash. And then you're back up. Go.
Quick little revamp it. Off you go.
Yeah. So she's kind of seen, when I said she hasn't seen the worst of me, she's now seen the worst of me. And what she's come to learn is, oh my God, you thrive on chaos. That's scary.
It's so true. So many people, I know me, I'm like really good at time management. I'm very dedicated and delegated, to get things done on time. But let me tell you, I am at my best when my back's against the wall. I've got no time. I have to get things done. I'm like, bam. So chaos, good chaos, not self-imposed chaos. I think that I get that she thinks you thrive on that because there is a lot of adrenaline there.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I'm self-imposed because I'm like, yeah, well. And it just comes from, I've done other things before, like when I was a junior exec with a major company. A buddy of mine, he got tired of corporate world and quit and became a general contractor. And he came to me and he says, "Hey man, if you write me a check for 10 grand, we can start buying houses." And I was like, "Can't buy a house with 10 grand. You're out of your mind." And he was like, "No, really." Well, he was a good friend, so I was like, "All right, well, here, I'll give you a check for 10 grand." And it's back in the early 2000s, and we started doing hard money loans, and we started buying houses wholesale, and we started rehabbing the houses, and we started renting them because we don't do flip type situations. We had a 3 to 5 year, and before you knew it, we had about 20 rentals.
Nice.
And it was just this, my mom, when she retired out here in Vegas, she used to come back because I was a single dad for a while. When my son went into 5th grade, his mother said, listen, things aren't good here, and it'll be better if he's there. And I said, yeah, no, absolutely. So let's shift the role, right? We change it. You get the alternating Christmases and the summers, and I'll take the primary role. And, so he came up to live with me.
Okay.
And as challenging as that was, my mother retired at 2-3 years, maybe a little more than that in. And so she would come up for 90 days at a time. She'd come out back in Chicago area where I used to live. And I remember my mother when I came home one day, and I loved it when she came because then I could work. This is how crazy. I was like, great, now I can work more. Because I would be like, I can't be at this event, guys. My son's got football. I can't be at this event, guys. I got to be home, my son. And I've been fortunate enough to work from home. So even back in the early 2000s on dial-up, I used to log in, wait for those crazy sounds, go start dinner. Dinner would get going. I'd go back up, start answering emails. My phone was always on my hip. I was always the dad at the football game or practice on the phone, doing deals, whether it was private business, whether it was for company. And so when my mom, I came home one time and she goes, who are all these mortgages for? What is this? From the mail. And I go, oh, that's the rental houses, Mom. That's not my house. And she's like, you pay all of these? And I'm like, well, I don't really pay all of these. The houses are all rented. So the tenants pay the mortgage. I mean, I have one mortgage, Mom, this house right here. Right? I sold the other house that I had. I'm like, for a time I had to carry two, but I said, no, I got the one. She was like, how do you sleep at night? And I was like, I run out of energy and I just pass out. That's how I sleep at night. I'm like,
yeah, head hits the
my
pillow.
mother was just amazed at this is the dark side of me. The dark side of me is I'm used to having to get it done. Whether I can get support or not, I will get it done. Right. I am also old enough to this point in my life where I realize it doesn't always get done the prettiest. It doesn't always get done the best, but I will get it done. I was saying to my mother the other day, I've got these 4 foot by 8 foot signs. And so I'm about 6'4", about 275 pounds, built like I still play football. I don't, never have. But I always get asked. And I said, being a larger person is difficult because the world's not built for you.
No.
Cars aren't built for bigger people. Beds you got to spend more. And I said, but there are certain times things like here the wind is whipping. Vegas, we get these winds that are just crazy and the dust. And I'm standing spread out in front of my sign trying to tack it down over here and tack it down over there. And I'm like, sometimes being a bigger person lets you get more stuff done. I can get my arms around a bigger package. And so because I physically can do certain things, it's just translated mentally. And whether I have the team or not, the support or not, I push through. And I've always found that in my endeavors, I run across people who go, wow, I want to help. Right.
They appreciate that. They appreciate that work ethic.
They do. And they come with that work ethic too. I mean, I've been fortunate enough, the contractor who's doing my work here was the same contractor who I met when I did Orange Theory 9 years ago.
Yeah, workers like to work with workers because they know their stuff is going to get done. It's an appreciation. Worker bees love worker bees.
And I kind of, my energy, I attract the right people. It's not like I never come across the wrong people. Of course, I've made bad hires before. I had an old vice president who said, listen, the game isn't whether you make a bad hire or don't make a bad hire. Get that out of your mind. You're going to make a bad hire. He was like, the real challenge and the real problem is once you know you've got the wrong person, if you're keeping them longer than you should, that's on you because you know better. He was like, we all make mistakes. He was like, now, if you make mistake, and you never get anything right, well, then that's a problem too. He was like, but we all make mistakes. He was like, the biggest mistake isn't making the mistake. The biggest mistake is keeping a mistake. Once you recognize it's a mistake, keeping it longer than you should. That's when you aren't leading. You aren't doing what you're supposed to do. And there's a book I think called Hard Conversations. It's a management book about being able to have those conversations with your team, having the conversations that one, help their career grow, two, helps you make sure you're managing appropriately when you're in these big corporations. That's the job you have. And, I've told people a lot of times, I've always said I work with, and, and a lot of folks who work for me in their mind, they're like, oh, I don't work with him. He's my manager, or he's my director, or and I'm like, no, we work together.
Good
The
for you.
company
I like
writes
that.
all of us a check. I don't write those checks. We work together. This is my role. My role happens to be I'm responsible for leading the team, but we still all work for company XYZ. Now, Drip Bar, different story. I'll be the one writing the checks. But my mentality is still the same. I don't really need to feel like you work for me. No, we still work together. Even when I write the checks, we still work together. I need you to have ownership. I need you to care. I need you to have a sense of wanting to be here. That's something I can never pay for. I can't pay
No, you can't
enough
buy that.
money
You
to
can't buy that. You
want
can't train that. That is in someone's heart, and they will
Yep.
show it over and over if they're appreciated and part of the team. It's so true.
Have you ever watched that show Bar Rescue?
Yes, I actually like, because it's like
always
sometimes I'm like, wake up.
I'm always amazed when people are like, well, I haven't gotten a paycheck in 3 months, but I'm like, and you're still going to work? I'm like, where do I find these people, right? You haven't been paid in 3 months and you go to work every day? Like, it proves the point, though, when someone's really bought in, and then sometimes they'll be family members, but a lot of times they're not.
Yeah.
They're
priceless. They're priceless.
They believe it's going to get back on track, and they're going to get back paid, and they're going to get what they're supposed to get, and all the other stuff. And that's the thing. You're looking for someone who, the mission that you put together, right? Can you put a vision and a mission together, right? Can people buy into that vision and mission? Can you execute that vision and mission? And can you appreciate the people who help you execute it? It's not just enough to execute it. You have to come back behind that and appreciate the people who help you execute it. So I was very clear when I started interviewing. Listen, I'm the guy who sweeps the floors and pays the bills. I'm not a nurse. All IVs at the Drip Bar have to be administered by an RN. I am no medical background whatsoever. I've sold into the medical space and world technology, but I know nothing about giving someone an IV. I know nothing about the things that are happening. They are the backbone of my business. Without them, this business fails. I might as well lock the door if they don't show up.
Yeah, they're
provide a service.
Necessity. Explain to everybody what the Drip Bar is.
So the Drip Bar is IV vitamin therapy. And what that simply means is you're receiving vitamins in a liquid form, and you're receiving them either intravenously or through an injection. So we have booster shots, and we have IV. So now, obviously, the IV takes more time. It's about a 30 to 45-minute process. It goes directly into the bloodstream. So you're talking about you're getting your vitamin C, you're getting your vitamin Bs, you're getting your magnesiums, your zincs. You're getting interesting things like glutathione, glutathione, which are like anti-inflammatories, antioxidants. You're getting these things intravenously, which means your body's now absorbing it down to the cellular level faster, and it's absorbing more of it. And I say to people all the time, you're looking at about a 60 to 80% absorption rate. I take vitamins, I always have, as a supplement. When you take them digestively, you're getting about 20 to 30% at best. Now, I'm a weirdo. I take my little hard vitamin pills and I throw them in my protein shake, and they get ground all up, and somebody's like, isn't that gross? And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't drink it because I thought it was good. Right? It wasn't Orange Crush. It's a protein shake. I've never found a protein shake I like. And the ones that you like, they're so full of sugar and full of like cookies and cream and all this. It's like, well, what are you taking the protein for?
Yeah,
right? It's not doing you any good. It should be low in sugar. It should be high in protein. It should, I take this vegan protein stuff, but even though they're getting crushed up, I'm not absorbing them anymore. There's still the digestive process is the digestive process. Intravenous, you're looking at 60 to 80%. Some places will say, oh, because we're putting it right into the bloodstream, it's 100%. Nothing in life is ever 100%. Right? And I don't care who says it. Nothing's ever 100%. The body's going to discard something, and that's just the way nature works. But if you look at 20 to 30 versus 60 to 80, you're talking exponentially more that your body is receiving, and you're receiving it faster. So that's what the Drip Bar is. It's an IV vitamin therapy space, and we have 19 different things, and we cover everything from health to lifestyle and the difference between health and lifestyle. And I had someone correct me the other day. She was like, well, if you don't have energy, that's a health thing. Energy is health. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because if you believe it, I believe it too. I don't believe in arguing with people. That's what you believe, it's what you believe. But when I say this health and lifestyle, health is we have a pre-op and post-op. We know that surgery causes trauma to the body. We build up your immune system to manage that trauma so your body can handle it better. Post-op, when you come out, we rebuild your immune system for faster recovery so you recover faster from it. High dose vitamin C has been studied for years, since the 70s by the National Institute of Health. And it helps chemo work better. It helps manage cancer cell growth. It helps with the side effects that comes from the chemo. So as it's tearing up your immune system, it's helping battle your immune system.
It's huge for Lyme disease. Oh my gosh.
Good for Lyme disease as well. For Lyme disease and for chelation, the heavy metals in the blood, we actually have you come in, we take your blood, we send it off to a lab and test it first to make sure we know, and then formulate around that with vitamins, right?
Okay.
To make sure we do that. People who are diabetic, they still have to stay on their diet and take their insulin, but high dose vitamin C helps regulate their glucose, their sugar, helps them manage it better. I've had some people say they've used less insulin behind it. Lifestyle, on the other hand, listen, I like CrossFit, or I like Ragnar, or I like to run marathons. Well, I'm depleting my body because of an activity I choose to do. And here's a vitamin cocktail that'll fill me full of aminos, minerals, vitamins. And so when I go out and do these extreme things, I'm already overcharged up for it, and it gives me more strength to do it. When I come back, I can recover from it. Listen, I have a problem with aging. I want to try to minimize the aging as much as I can, whether it's from a physical appearance or whether it's an internal antioxidative thing. So, we have things like Time Machine. We have things like Firm, which is for firming up the skin. Glutathione is used in a lot of topicals and skin cream. Women buy those skin creams because it plumps up the skin. It makes it, appear a little more shiny, a little more healthy. But when you're taking it internally, 3 to 4 to 5 treatments at the cellular level, your skin is being rebuilt at that level.
Yeah.
Those to me are lifestyle choices. Your health doesn't depend on that lifestyle choice.
True.
When you're going through a cancer protocol, that's a health situation. When you have diabetes, that's a health situation. So that's how I divide health and lifestyle. Well, I didn't, Drip Bar did, but I agree with them wholeheartedly, right? So that's what we do, and we provide that. We have some ancillary services as well, like most places. We have the opportunity to introduce hydrofacial. That's new to us. It just came out recently. We may be putting it in our space here. We may be adding infrared sauna with the halo treatment. So if you've ever been to a salt room, halo is for the respiratory, infrared sauna is for a variety of different things. I had a gentleman who wears glasses. He said he's had his eyesight corrected. He's had his prescription changed 3 different times. Infrared sauna has an impact on that. And then lastly, hyperbaric chamber is another service that we have that I'm still researching on what it takes and who it takes to run it, and what the certifications are and what the things are that's needed for being able to do it, and all the other stuff. So I'm working on that right now. Those will be some of the ancillary services we have. There's a product called Beamer, which helps with circulation. There's one of my chamber members who, he's a representative for one of those things. He'll be at our event on June 11th. For our friends and family event to showcase that, and I may do some partnership with him.
Where's that event?
Service. So, pardon?
Where will that event be?
So the event will be right here at our space. We're at 4579 West Flamingo, which is literally 2 strip centers down from the Palms, which is renewed and open. The very first Native American owned casino in Las Vegas. So the Palms was bought by a Native American outfit out of California. Now people go, well, Virgin. No, Virgin is owned by Branson. He had a Native American company act as the operating company for the casino piece, but they don't own Virgin. The Palms was purchased by a Native American group that owns casinos in California, and they're the very first one to own a casino in Las Vegas. And a major casino, I should say. And so they just reopened a couple of weeks ago, and they did a full revamp of it. It looks beautiful.
Oh, I have to get myself back out there. I love the drip bars. I've done the IVs after fundraiser events, like it's a spin class fundraiser event where you're really like going for hours. I love my B12. We hike all the time. They're very, very, they're rebuilding. They help you get back to where you were. So I love the idea. I think they're great. I know they're somewhat new in some areas and people don't understand, but like you said, you have your licensed people who are, using the needles, providing the service. It's not, the mayor's not there giving, injecting you. You have the right people trained and in place. And I think you're doing a really good thing. And I think if I remember correctly, when we first spoke, there were really good ways that you could use, your health savings account to actually pay for this, correct?
So we accept HSA and FSA. Unfortunately, the lobby group being what it is, the lobbyists push pharmaceuticals. They don't push vitamins, so your insurance won't cover it. That needs to change because this is very a proactive way to keep you healthy versus waiting to get sick and then needing. But it is what it is. We're not going to change the politics of that. But yes, we are HSA and FSA friendly. So if you're using those accounts, you work for a company that allows you to do pre-tax dollars into those accounts to try to take care of your health, we are HSA and FSA friendly.
Fantastic. And what is your planned opening day?
So I'm planning May 23rd. We were just calling the fire department today. That's the planned open date. But June 11th is going to be the first event that we have that lets the public know, and I'll be marketing and advertising. The franchisor says, no one markets their friends and family event. And I'm like, listen, anyone who shows up to my business. No one else is Nathan Atkins. Right. I'm like, if you show up to my business, you're a new friend. That's how it works. If you support me, I consider you to be a friend. And I want everyone to know where I'm at. Businesses don't stay open trying to be the best kept secret unless, you got something unique, right?
Yeah.
You've got a crowd of people when you create a private, secret, super exclusive club. That's not what this is. This is a business that serves the public. And so I need the public to know where we're at, and I need them to know from day one. And so on June 11th, we're having a friends and family event. Now, we do have a cap. We're only going to be doing 30 drips. So whoever signs up first for the appointments, once those 30 are gone, they're gone. And so you get a chance to get a power pack, an energy drip for free to see what it's like. Everyone who attends and says to themselves, hey, this is something I either want to try or I want to make part of my, lifestyle regimen, we're giving them 25% off the appointments they booked that day. And then, of course, we have big discounts off memberships because we do have memberships as well if they buy a membership that day as well. So there's a lot of things.
Incentives.
Yep, a lot of incentives. But one of the other things I tell people all the time is well, we never drink bad wine, so come because we're going to have a decent Italian sparkling wine that we'll be providing. I got a screaming deal on a really great wine. So I was like, oh, one day I'm gonna have that event. So I bought a couple cases of that. So just come and have a good time.
And where could people find out all the information for this event?
So the information for the event they're going to be able to find at ivlasvegas.com.
Okay. And I'll make sure everybody, if you're listening or watching, I will put up all the information that Nathan talked about today regarding him running, his events running for campaign or the drip bar will be below everything in the show notes. It'll just be a click away. So you'll be able to find them, register, get in line, get your drip, get your membership, get healthy, save money. Have your businesses in your city explode because he's going to run it right. I got to tell you, Nathan, they're really lucky to have you out there in North Las Vegas.
Thank you.
And I am very lucky to have you on Shannon Confidential. I'm glad we finally got a chance, our schedules to coordinate and we can record this. You have been a pleasure. You're a ball of energy. Like I said, everybody's really lucky to have you out there. And I'm very, very thankful that you took the time out of your extremely busy schedule to come on to Shannon Confidential today.
I absolutely appreciate it. And you know what, Shannon, the truth is without opportunities like this, platforms like you who give us an opportunity to be able to be heard, right? We're nothing without you. So the way we're able to share this ball of energy with anybody is because you've created a platform that we can come on to, and now this can be shared out and it's out there. So I appreciate you having me on. It's very important for me.
Well, you are very welcome. And thank you again.
Thank you.